One of my other favorite people that you work with, and I mean, she's so mysterious, but I've interviewed her and found her to be one of the coolest people I've ever come across, is Maria from In This Moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another band that resides here, many of them, right?
No, they don't reside here right now. She was just here. I think I can say
Are you
that
working
just
with her
last
right
month.
now?
No, my son is. So he produced
Oh, okay.
the last album,
Yeah.
and he's doing the current one too.
Because you
did-
bled your
I did 6
skills right into your kids, man, right?
Oh yeah, I mean they're around.
Yeah.
I mean my daughter more from the business side and the management side, but definitely in those early Five Finger albums, Kane was in one room doing some editing and stuff. For him, he was working on his own stuff too, but always somewhat involved.
Yeah.
And he knew all the guys, and and sometimes it takes a certain mentality to work with artists. And I think the trick is that with both my kids, my artists tend to like them, and so they feel comfortable with them.
Right.
And so say with Maria and with any artist, I think she felt much more comfortable sort of go after me using Kane. And he really understood the band because he worked on those early songs.
Yeah.
He co-wrote songs like Blood and some other, In This Moment hits.
Yeah.
So he knew exactly who the band was, who she was, who Chris was, and he knew how to do it. He had the keys to the kingdom in a sense of my knowledge and, doing it. I mean, he did it. So so that worked out really well. And to circle around to your original question, she's one of a kind, which all the great artists are. I mean, It doesn't matter. Like even Ivan from Five Finger, he's one of a kind. Love him or hate him, he's one of a kind.
I love him.
And Maria too.
Yeah.
She's, I think the artists that rise above, in a certain sense, are artists who you can't get same thing from someone else. You can try it. There's been the followers and stuff, but you can't get what Maria does from anybody else other than her. And that's true for AC/DC, for Metallica, for any of the top of those pyramid, even Nickelback. I mean, in a sense, they're special people at the top of those careers.
Talent requires a certain psychology, and each talent has their own, right?
Yeah.
And you've got, as a person who has to deal with all the different psychologies, how did you hone that skill? Because you're dealing five in one room at some point.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's kind of, I don't want to
that's
say
a trick.
babysitter, but I mean, there's a certain skill that takes.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit tricky. Honestly, it's a lot easier. I've done some country projects too, and it's a lot easier with one artist.
Right.
Because then you can focus on them. When it gets to, 5 guys, or guys or girls, everybody's kind of got their own mini agenda, and everybody's got their own personality and their own home life, and it bleeds into the band. And it's not easy to live with the guys on a bus, so by the time you get done the tour, you're already maybe irritated at each other a little bit, and then you got to go into the studio, and then that's very difficult because that's the art. That's really where it's eternal. Once that record comes out, it's not changing.
Right.
So it was
Unless
always
you're
a
Taylor
challenge.
Swift.
Sorry? Yeah.
Unless you're Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've definitely actually submitted some change-ups, after it's been on Spotify for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Very quietly and cleverly, because I didn't like something in the mix, or, usually at radio you're just the BDS or whatever you guys get it from. But that, I think that I love that part of it, actually. I don't shy away from that at all. I think part of the challenge is, as a producer, especially in that genre, is making everybody happy. It's difficult to make the drummer to the A&R guy happy. Not that I'm putting the drummer at the bottom of that chain.
No, but
just
they're the
guitar
backbone.
player,
They're
the
the
singer.
backbone. Yeah.
The singer's got to sing it. Maybe someone else wrote a lyric that it's not his and it's not as personal, but it's still a good lyric, so you still have to convince him to sing it. It's a difficult challenge, and to make everybody feel that they've been part of it and been involved, and it just the nature of the beast of artistic people. They're always running hot. They're always running like this wrecking this song is the worst tragedy, or not doing it the way they wanted is the worst tragedy in the world. And I think for producers like myself, just another song, yes, it is important, but it's not the only song on the record. You know, give a little here, you can take a little bit there. Everybody works with each other. I always like to have a very family pot style of producing where I didn't care. And The Sound of Silence is that. I didn't care where the idea came from. It's like, let's just get the best idea, and then everything else will take care of itself. Let's try to do the best music we can, and everything else will take care of itself. And maybe you don't like it now. There was a band actually you recently had on, who, and I haven't listened to that podcast, by the way, so that it probably wouldn't have come up, but there's one member of the band who basically threatened to quit if this one song was created, let's just say. It was one of those kickbacks from the label, still needed their hit. So then the last song we did was more of a contribution from everybody in the band rather than a couple of writers. And to me, it's still almost my favorite song of that band's career. And I would think that many of those guys would actually say that as well. Yet, you know, one guy had trouble with it, right? And even after they started playing live, he didn't want to play it live. But once the Carlotas start playing it, you have no choice but to play it live. And then once people decide, then you can come around to it. And once your life gets better because that song has helped you get better gigs, has helped you get more popularity for your other songs that you do love. I mean, it's all kind of a team spirit. One song doing well is good for all the other songs. And it doesn't matter if it's your song, someone else started it, you know. Let's just look at the focus of the band, making the band an eternal band rather than just one song that you had an agenda with. Like, I just don't like people's agendas really at all. Yeah. My only agenda is to give the band a lifetime career. That's really what the agenda is, and not even the best song. In some cases, you can't have the best song outside of the nature of what the band is, because then it just causes the fans to like be confused. Right. So I don't want to overstate the intellectualism of it, but there's a little bit more, I think, that goes into sometimes there's not, but most times there's a little bit more to it than just burping it out there. That's probably the wrong word, but so getting back, circling around, I love the part of it that keeps people engaged. You know, it's a little difficult when you get threatening emails in the middle of the night when somebody has a bad night. And these days, they have access to you. If you're looking at your phone, messages. There's some bands I've had to say, okay, no more messaging anybody. We're going to talk about these things in person because, as you know, different experience when you're face-to-face talking to someone than when you're typing on a keyboard.
Yeah, you're a keyboard warrior, all
full of
tough.
angst, and you've had 6 beer, and your girlfriend's behind you telling me, yeah, tell him that, or boyfriend. I think when people are together, it's a different atmosphere and a different vibe, and that was always my goal, is bring people together instead of push them apart. I wasn't ever trying to separate anybody and just take because obviously with every band there's some really talented people and some less talented people. That's just the nature of life, right? There's 5 of us in the rooms, 5 producers here. Yeah. Some of us will be better than others, right? Yeah. So, but everybody's important because everybody has to go out there and tour and sell it, and sometimes the least of us can give the best info, the best idea. Let's not discount it just because he's only written one song rather than 10. So. Right.
And I think I love the Sound of Silence story with how that all came together, because you are talking about a very successful band at that point in time, and one of the key components of that band, which is the guitarist, said, I'm not going to be selfish right now. Yeah. This is not what's best for the song for me to be jamming in it. Let's do this. And for someone to step back like that for the greater good. Yeah. And it became, obviously, it is their biggest song. Yeah. I mean, as much as we love their entire library, people who don't know The Light or whatever, Prayer or any of that, they know Sound of Silence, and it's because of the teamwork and the selfish. What's the word I'm looking for?
Selflessness.
There it is.
Unselfishness.
And I talk for a living, but anyways, I don't make a lot of money. Now you know why. I think that's a great story for any band to hey, look. Yeah. Here's a band that somebody, they could have all been like, we're Disturbed. Yeah. I'm going to get that guitar, Yeah. And done it.
That was really a defining moment, especially considering that maybe some other members of the band thought he should be playing guitar and
Right.
thought he was maybe just being lazy. But he wasn't. He had a good idea.
It's greater good.
We listened. I entertained the idea. And thank God I did, because it's changed all of our lives.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the main songs that helped me purchase my studio when I bought it, was the
Yeah.
royalties from that. Had I not had that song, I might have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Well, not in trouble, but
Yeah,
it might have
you'd
taken
be-
me a couple extra years to get
Yeah.
the height on it.
Yeah,
as we know
exactly.
it now. Which, by the way, you're invited if you ever want to.
I do want
see
to
it.
come down.
Yeah.
I have been there before. It is beautiful.
Oh, you have
I
been there. You've been there when I was there?
Oh, bro. No, I think
Oh.
Kane was there. I don't think
Oh,
you were
okay.
there.
All right.
Which we are going to get to when I was there. But I do have a question. When an artist is just stuck, their writer's blocking it, or they can't get the emotion of the singing, or whatever it is. They're just stuck.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you get them moving?
Well, if I can identify the reason why they're stuck, obviously that's the most thing to solve that, right? Many times it's themselves battling themselves. It's themselves unable to let go and just work. So to me, it's, first of all, everybody take a break, watch a movie, not just for 2 hours, but let's take, days off, 4 days off. Don't worry about it. It's going to work. Don't worry about it. Go have some fun. And when come back, it's left foot, right foot. Nothing has to get solved in a day. I'm a big believer that and this is actually my son talking through me. Kane would always say, it's probably quicker to try the idea than to talk about how it's not going to work. Like, let's just try it. Like, don't censor yourself. And in fact, that's why a lot of writers in the past throughout time, I'm not saying mine, but lots of writers write far better on substances than not, because the watchdog's gone and you're not second guessing yourself. You're just letting it flow. So that's the key thing, is to just let it flow. I'm not saying you have to do drugs, but you have to be able to just let the music come out, let the ideas flow.
Microdose.
I'm all about the
Me too.
microdose.
I'm a fan of microdose.
But we were talking about psychedelics, though. I'm also a fan of the max dose, though, too.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
this is a different podcast.
That's a blast.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, no, it's not different. I'll talk microdosing
oh, okay.
right now.
Oh,
Are you
awesome.
kidding me?
What-
I'm actually a fan of LSD.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's better. I think it's better.
I mean, look, we would not have all those Beatles songs if it wasn't for that.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a huge fan
Me too.
of psychedelics in general.
Psychedelic therapy is. I was just talking about it today because I'm calling the summer of 2025 the summer of love,
Oh.
because I plan on microdosing this summer,
Oh. Okay.
all summer.
Okay.
And the key is to do every few days incredibly subtle amounts. And
Okay.
you're still working and doing it,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But then, like, maybe once or twice a month, bring it a little bit up,
Yeah.
where you're
Perfect.
having a day by the pool and laughing or
And
whatever.
it's a reset. Yeah.
It clears out the cobwebs,
Yeah.
and it creates creativity and focus and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so having that, have you ever been in the studio just blasted and working on music? Have you ever done that?
No, not at all.
Come on.
Actually, that is the actual answer, though, as far as when I've worked for people, because I have a different responsibility
Sure.
than the artist has. The artist can do whatever they want. It's their world, whatever it takes. But for me, I just found that since that's not my natural day-to-day headspace, I either can't get anything done, or I come back the next day and the Pro Tools session is in a completely disarray and nothing's making sense.
Because you were coloring with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something I can't work. I can't work and do that sort of thing. I'm not, even if the band comes up with great ideas, I'm not capturing anything because I'm in my own corner of the room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so and I'm the not the controller, but I'm the facilitator.
Yeah.
The guy that has to make sure that we get some good
Everything's going
results
good, yeah.
from that, even if it's personal results of people. The last thing that you want, it would be like a therapist, doing the drugs that
with the client.
yeah, you know,
I mean, that
They
might have
might-
happened in the past. I don't know.
I
Yeah.
mean,
you never know.
even you know, yeah. I mean, I've heard about some of the psychedelic retreats where the
for sure, in
facilitator
Colorado and
is
stuff, yeah.
joining in to be on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
You know, as the patient
Yeah.
or the client. But I just found for me it's not great.
No, I smoked pot once when I was on the radio.
Oh yeah.
Within my first year of my career, I
Okay.
smoked pot. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the buttons were. I didn't know anything. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm never doing this again.
Yeah.
But microdosing's different.
Yeah.
It's you don't even know
Yeah.
because it's like a vitamin almost. It's like taking a vitamin.
Yeah.
It's so subtle.
Yeah. I found that if you're talking about LSD or shrooms.
LSD.
So I have never microdosed LSD, but I found that for me personally, the psilocybin microdosing was not great for me because
Yeah.
it was almost just like a little tickle. But I didn't, an irritating tickle. I wanted
Yeah.
to go further. I wanted to
Yeah.
go to the next stage, right? And so
Yeah.
it was almost like an irritation to me. But on the other hand, my headspace and my personality is, I didn't really need that anyways, right? I prefer to take the once a month or every 6 months and go
And blast out.
a little deeper.
Yeah.
And
Head to Sedona and see
Yeah.
you later.
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Jesus. I don't
Yeah.
want to.
What's up,
I don't want to be
Jesus?
just irritated, feel like I got to tickle the whole day.
Yeah,
but for
no,
some
that's
people,
fair.
though, it really works. So
Yeah, I don't like to lose control like that.
Right.
I'm a control freak
Yeah.
at the same
I am
time,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
I like to take it right up to where I feel like I did 2 lines of cocaine, but I don't have the Jones.
right.
That's where I like.
I'm
to
probably the only one you've had on the show that's never done coke, or I shouldn't say that. I've done it one time in my early life,
Yeah.
and I passed out on the floor. And
It's nasty.
Thankfully, I had a nurse who was in the room
Yeah.
at the time, and
Cocaine's nasty. It's a nasty
Yeah.
drug.
I've never seen anybody do great. Well, I shouldn't say do great things because lots of good music as well.
Oh yeah,
I
a
mean,
great song.
I mean, probably, yeah, exactly. Even
Yeah.
even that in and of itself, I think for a lot of people maybe it works, but I've seen so many bad repercussions of that use
Oh yeah,
with people I
It's
know
nasty.
and have worked with, or people I haven't worked with and just knew that. To me, it just seemed like the wrong drug.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's like one of the worst drugs. LSD is actually one of the safest drugs, and
Yeah.
that blows
Yeah.
people's minds
Yeah.
when you hear that. But I do want to talk to you about one of the tragedies in the rock world on many levels, which is the band Hell Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Vinny.
Vinny. And I say tragedy aside from the fact that Vinny passed, but that band was about to take off.
Yeah.
I mean, that last album was
Yeah.
a masterpiece. And
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it too. I was very disappointed that it didn't get more support from the powers that be, let's call it.
I tried.
I won't single them out.
I tried.
Definitely not you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, that was the one, and unfortunately, some people higher ups lost faith after Vinny passed, and so it's unfortunate that he didn't get to experience all that glory that we had in creating it, and it's unfortunate that he passed in the middle of making that too. So
I mean, didn't he just finish his drum parts?
thankfully he was done, in a certain sense. Even though all the music wasn't done, the drum tracks were. And so, and his sort of guidance and supervision and contribution, is more at the stage of throwing it to Chad Gray
Yeah.
and letting Chad do his thing. So, and Tom had to come back and the other guys, Christian and Kyle too. But, yeah, it was the wrong, I don't know how you say it, the best time that he could have passed in a sense, because he kind of left it to us. He said, here we go,
Yeah.
see ya.
It's like his guardian angels or whatever was like, look, we're going to take you, but we're going to make sure
Yeah.
you leave your last piece of work.
And it's unfortunately more people didn't get to hear that. Like I said, I think we were all pretty positive about it and optimistic, and I still listen to it every now and then and go, man, that's something that people just won't hear.
Such a good album.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my favorite songs is on that album. Oh My God.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I love that song.
Yeah. Chad worked his ass off
Yeah,
on the songs.
did. And that's when I was at Hideout. I did
Oh.
come to Hideout when Chad was in the processes of
Oh.
doing his vocals.
Okay.
Because I hung out with him in the back in the
Okay.
alley. We hung out in the alley while he smoked, and he was talking about gearing up.
Oh,
to,
did I know you were there?
I don't think you knew.
I
was
must not
there.
have known you were there because I definitely would have invited you in.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I had allergies that ate me for a couple of weeks. What? How did you have to work with Chad on getting him? I mean, that was a
Yeah.
difficult time.
Yeah.
How did you work with Chad during that time to get the best out of him?
Yeah, I think that was one of those situations where, he was doing better by working. Some people maybe handle grief differently. Some people need to take a break, process it. I think in Chad's case, he was better for continuing on, and it was really left foot, right foot, and let's see what we get done today. And if we get done nothing and we just talk, that's fine. If we get something done, that's fine. And, go home early if you want, stay late if you want, just kind of leave it open to the universe and the guidance and just see how it goes, and he was focused and into it, and yeah, it was good. It was good, actually. It was a lot of work, but it was good.
I mean, because God, man, some of the stuff on that album just such a tragedy. That
Yeah,
it didn't
great lyrics,
go
he
where-
spent a lot of time on,
Yeah.
we hashed a lot of things back and forth. I don't think I've redone the song so many times. He didn't want to let anything go till it was absolutely perfect, what he wanted to say, and yeah, it was good.
What's your favorite Vinny story?
My favorite Vinny story is actually a story that he's never heard. How about that?
Oh,
This will
good.
be amazing.
Okay.
I think I can tell this one. So at the end, was it Blood for Blood? I think it was maybe exclamation mark, whatever. We had finished the record, and his management came in to listen to it. And I had actually given him a gift a couple of years, or maybe a year earlier, a Christmas gift, where I was making my own vodka. And he's a vodka drinker, so not in the state and not in the city and not at my house, but I was making my own vodka, and I just wanted him to try it. He's a Sky vodka drinker.
Yep.
I just wanted to know what he thought of it, so I gave him. I put in a like Crystal Head skull, a bottle that looks so cool. So I made it. I put it in that. Corked it. On top, I put this wax seal with my letter C on it to give it to him. And then I was at his house a couple times, throughout the months after that, and he never even cracked it, never even drank it. So I had a second bottle at my studio that I would open every now and then. It was in the freezer, right? But I don't tell people it's there, and it was just there. And for this listening party, he brought a bottle of Sky, right? His typical 2-liter bottle of
Yep.
Sky. He's pouring, everybody drinks, everybody's drinking it. The band's already gone. Or maybe they were just at the end of getting ready to go. The management's sitting on the couch, and I'm just sitting at the front of the console playing music for everybody, going song by song, and then we talk about it for a little while. And all of a sudden he puts down a shot in front of me, and I can smell it, and I know it's mine,
Uh-huh.
And I go, oh, he's never tried this before. And I didn't tell him it was actually cut a little bit stronger than the average bottle of vodka. It wasn't 40%. It was actually stronger. But he must have just opened the freezer, grabbed the Crystal Head out of the freezer, and started pouring that. And that's when the party went completely, I wouldn't say sideways, but that's when some of the guys had to leave and go home. But Vinny stayed there pretty much till the end, till he was on the couch. Until the managers kind of were inching out the back door, telling me, "Don't say anything. We're going. See ya."
Yeah.
But I just loved it because he drank my vodka, and
It whooped his
didn't
ass.
say it was horrible,
Didn't say it, but it whooped his ass a little bit.
and never mentioned
Yeah.
that next day. Never, I don't
Right.
think he realized it, and that was cool too. And I never told him that. By the way, that vodka you were drinking was mine, right? Never mentioned it, and we, next record we never even talked about it. And by then I wasn't making it anymore, so it's like, it's over and done with. I always meant to tell him that, but I mean, we just never got to it. So, in fact, this is probably the first time publicly I've ever told that. So,
He was such a mainstay, not just in Dallas, but
Yeah.
here as well in Las
Yeah.
Vegas, and it was such a huge loss.
oh, he was the mayor of Las Vegas as far
Yeah.
as the rock world went.
Yeah.
There was not a rock. If he was in town, there's not a rock show he wasn't at and welcome
Yeah.
to.
And I'm telling you, he's very stoked that we're doing this, because he told me one day when I ran into him somewhere, he grabbed me by the shoulders and he looked at me, and it was regarding Kill Pop. And he looked at me and he said, "Do not stop.
Yeah,
Do not stop."
yeah,
And so here we are, not stopping.
yeah. That was what he did. He inspired people to keep going and do it
Yeah.
for the passion, and he was passionate. He didn't have to work. He didn't have to keep going out there, and he loved it, and he would do it until he couldn't.
And cook for everybody too.
He
And he
did,
was
yeah.
a masterful cook. He made the best salsa,
Yeah.
and he made that shelled jalapeno with the
Right.
peanut butter and the Fritos and the jelly.
Yeah.
It sounds gross. It's the most amazing thing you'll ever put in your mouth. At least it's in the top 5.
And not just that, he had the After Effects covered too, in the sense that he would have the cucumber and lemon water.
Yeah.
So that when you were just dying of thirst at the end of the night, it was there, tasting great, fresh. I mean, he had lots of little touches that not everybody would.
Yeah, he was the man. How do you pitch an artist? Is there an artist that you went out to pitch? I mean, besides Ozzy, obviously, but is there, like, right now, do you have somebody that you would love to go pitch? Like, I want to do this person's work.
I've really only pitched a couple in my life. Most of them, lucky for me, have come to me,
Oh, that's
which
cool.
is either just friend referrals, cold calls. Their managers calling me, their label calling me, whatever. There's really only been 2. And this is kind of why I don't really pitch very much. Because one, I won't even mention the band, but one guy's I pitched didn't know who I was, and basically looked at me in their dressing room for a little bit of time and said something like, "Do you have a card?" Like, no, I actually don't have a card, but, so let's just say it didn't go well. That band didn't ever go on to greater things, but I love that band so much, and I still love them now. They still could do great things, but it wasn't with me. And actually, sorry, there's one other band who did go on to fantastic things who called me. Their label called me, and I so wanted to do that album. And I met with the label, and the artist wouldn't meet with me because he just had other ideas of how his career was going to go. And it was great, still to this day. But I'll tell you about another artist that I pitched. I'm pitching right now one, and he basically, it's not even a rock artist. It's like a country artist, like
Okay.
a folk artist,
Like
almost.
full-blown country, yeah.
A
Mumford
Canadian,
and Sons country
yeah,
type thing?
I would
Okay.
say even countryer.
Okay.
Like we're talking
Bluegrassy. Like
Bluegrassy.
Okay.
Exactly right. And I just randomly found him up in Canada when I was there, and I've kind of, I can't figure it out. I mean, he's respectful to me, and awesome, but I can't push him to start working. He's just not working at all. Whether he's actually he's captaining tugboats up there, so he's not really in music. And I saw him at a club at a jam. And I go, "Who's this guy?"
Right.
That's the guy. Yeah.
Can't get him in the.
Like I said, he's friendly. I'll see him. I'll walk by even when he's on his tugboat or his, whatever he's doing, and wave to him. He'll wave to me and be friendly and say, "Yeah, we're going to this island for a week. I won't be back for a week. I'll call you then." And then he comes back and doesn't call me.
Wow.
So how about
So
that?
here's
I'm not even
Kevin
telling you how.
Churko's trying to get this
Yeah.
dude, and he's like, "Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. I'm good."
Yeah, having said that, generally it goes a different way. But I just figure, if it's meant to be, it will. I mean, that's really the story of my life, and I think should be everybody's life. If it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it's not, it won't. Keep going, keep trying. Don't take offense to it. I'm not offended by it. I think he's awesome still. Maybe he'll want to work with me. Maybe it has nothing to do with me. Maybe he's fighting his own demons, his own battles, wants to clear up some shit on his own first before he, puts
Yeah,
his best
it's
foot
just-
forward. It might not have anything to do with me.
Right.
So if the universe wants it to happen, it will. And if not, I'm fine with that.
One more question. Explain mastering. We don't really know. We just think, oh, they make it better, prettier. What album would you take that you've done and remaster it, make it? Explain that process.
So mastering has evolved to be a little different now than it's been in the early stages. In the early stages of music, it took so much effort to do that first mix. It might take like 3 days in a studio, or maybe you mastered it quick, or you mixed it quickly, but it took a lot of resources and money to go into a studio in those days and mix, and you had an assistant and a mixer and the producer and blah blah blah. There's more people involved, and it was on analog tape, and so what would happen was you'd think it was awesome, and then you sit at home with it for 2 weeks and go, oh, there's just some things that aren't quite right. But maybe you didn't have the budget to go back and redo anything. So let's just send it to this guy who's going to try to fix as much as he can. And basically it's just, but then you're only dealing with the 2 tracks, the left and right. You don't have the multi-track. You don't have the drums separate and the guitars and all that. So you got just a 2-track master, let's call it. And then you just do what you can to format that better. Maybe you need more top end. Maybe you can do clever little moves and dynamic processing that brings the bass down on certain notes, pumps the kick drum up a little bit louder on certain things, without having to get everybody back in the studio and pay $2,000 a day for a studio time. So that was one reason for it. The other reason is a lot of times you just want to kind of mix and make the magic, and then maybe it's not the right level to press. In the early days, honestly, mastering was about fitting it into vinyl, onto vinyl first. So you couldn't have a lot of bottom end on vinyl because it would start skipping. So you had to have a guy before that process that said, okay, we're going to cut the bottom end here, we're going to roll it off here, this has got too much top end, it's not going to translate well. Maybe radio's not going to play it because it doesn't, you know how radio is.
Yep.
You play this song, and then this song, the one in the middle, kind of has to be similar, right? You don't want to be, have too many changes. So you kind of reform it. A master can make it sound, in a sense, a little bit more similar to other things, to let's call it a control level. I'm probably taking too much time to actually explain this. So a center control level, and sometimes they're even doing in the old days the fade outs. The band's playing forever in the old days, and then the mastering guy is actually bringing the main fader down, so he's got control over if you hear that last little guitar solo, gem or not. And just I guess dotting the I's and crossing the T's on the mix. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. It's like a last final glaze on your cake. Okay. That says, here's the cake, but we're just going to put it in with this extra little icing, and we're going to just try to bump it up the quality up just a little bit. And in the old days, it was more meaningful, because these days, now you can generally hit a button and it brings up your mix. Oh, I just need the hi-hat down, or it brings up your mix exactly the way that it was, with the computers and all that, so that you can just bump the vocal level up a little bit, because that was just a little too quiet on that day. Your ears were tired and you just didn't get it right. But still very important. Now I would never want to take anything away from them. Most of the time in my early days, my early career, I didn't have the budgets always when I started on the record, so I couldn't always go to a great mastering engineer. Say by the time you get to Disturbed, you have great mastering guys. You have budgets for great talented people. I didn't always have that, and I was disappointed in the early days, so I ended up just learning how to do it myself and doing it myself, sure. Saving a little bit of money in the budget for the band so we could record longer. And so because of that, a lot of the records I've done, I've mastered myself or with Kane, or now a new guy, Tristan Harden, who did a lot of my later records as far as the mastering goes. But and then I just started to love that process. I just started to like doing it, and that way when I'm mixing, I'm thinking about the mastering, and I'm actually running it through my mastering chain, so I kind of know what's going to happen at the end too. And that was just for me a more effective way of getting it right quicker than sending a mix I think is amazing to some guy who sends it back to me because he thought it needed X, Y, Z, and it just sounds completely different. Like, you'd be surprised how much you can change just a left-right stereo mix with, especially these days, with electronic equipment. So
right.
I don't know, did that explain it?
How do you feel about AI?
I think AI is I don't really form an opinion of it because I'm a believer that technology cannot be stopped. And I think that if you look back when the Beatles were on 4 tracks of tape versus the end game of having 24 tracks, I don't know, maybe they even had 48. They probably wouldn't have had 48 tracks by the end of that, but 24 tracks of tape, they got better and better. When Eddie Van Halen had a new Marshall amp with hotter gain pickups, it changed music. And maybe B.B. King was saying, I don't know if I like those new Marshall amps. I mean, you know, music used to be mono. Radio would only play mono music. Then it got stereo. So, you know, and now it's, you know, surround sound. It's like an Atmos kind of thing now. So, you know, when I'll go even further, all of a sudden you could have a drum machine. Well, the drummers hated that because now they're being replaced from drum machines. And then string keyboards. You know, all of a sudden there's no symphonies. But guess what? There still were symphonies. Guess what? There still were drums. You find a different way of doing it, and the drum machine becomes a supplement, and a keyboard becomes a supplement. Or for lower budget artists who can't afford to go hire 30-piece string
Right,
section.
Neil Peart style.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I just think about all the good things that it's done. And yeah, there's going to be some bad things, and there's some pretty bad drum machine music in the world still to this day.
Right.
In a sense, because now it takes on a different shape. But I just think it's going to find its way, and it's going to happen. So rather than hate on it and rather than complain and bitch about it, let's maybe try to find some effective uses for it and some ways that it can make music better. I can't say it's going to do that, but I can't say it won't. I can't say it won't. I would say whether or not you like it, it's here. So let's use it. Try to use it with talented people to make the best music we possibly can.
Kevin, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I really appreciate
Thanks.
you. Thank you for coming by, and I'm always
Yeah.
going to love to have you. So
Yeah,
I want to come to the hideout too.
You're always
Let's
welcome.
go.
You're always
Yeah,
welcome
I
anytime.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.